absolutely necessary.
What's happening, folks? Welcome to episode 14 of Street Notes. I'm out shooting on a Saturday today, which is pretty rare. Usually I'm only out on weekdays, and it felt pretty good to be out on a Saturday because the city was nice and busy. And before I get started, if anybody is interested in what my camera settings are, pretty much all day I was shooting at 1/1000th of a second, f8, and with the ISO set to auto. The light was changing quite a bit because it was partially cloudy. Starting off here in the Milk District or Dairy Block or whatever it's called, just kind of working on some warm-up shots, trying to see things. I'm feeling a bit rusty because I hadn't really been out to shoot for about a month. And this was actually a few blocks further over in the Rhino District. I've always seen this art wall and feel like there's some, this area has some cool photos to give. And I actually quite like this one with this mother and child wearing the same kind of hat. Going further up this alley, there's just art all over the place, so it makes a lot of good backdrops for photos. This one doesn't work though. I mean, this person turned away and looked in that window, so it's not really, it's nothing. I did notice that that person carrying the trash bags came out of this door here, so I waited for them to come back and just pretended like I was photographing the art around them. They did sort of stop to wait because obviously somebody didn't want to step through my picture, and I just waited for him I told him to pass through and then took a quick shot as he was coming through that area. And I like that he's framed in there, and I don't know, there's something about this, maybe just the kind of graphic quality. It's got that kind of layering look about it. Probably could have framed it better, maybe if there'd been more people coming and going, but I didn't have a lot of time to set this up. This guy had his hands behind his back and he moved them just as I got to him, but it still came out kind of interesting. I've been photographing a lot of hands behind backs recently, and it seems that that is actually a cliche type photo. So I've been trying to work this sort of reflective chrome art covered food truck the last couple times I've been here. Haven't really got anything yet, and today was no different, but I did get a photo of Jack trying to take pictures there as well. But then as I turn around from that, and I'm so glad that I hung around this area for a minute, I saw this guy who was tying a bandana on the back of his head there, and quickly framed this with the fence here, and he matched the colour of the fence, and I absolutely love this. I really like the colours, they're kind of complementary to each other. They've got that graphic element of the fence in the foreground, and in the background the colours match it nicely as well, and the guy's wearing blue and red, which also matches the scene. Really happy with this one, and if I got no other photos today, I would still be happy that I went out because I really love this photo.
Oh, this changed.
Had a couple shots that I like in this alley before, and things have changed already, so it's sort of like it's different, and I can't make those same photos again. But this alley is so interesting, and as things change, I think there'll be other opportunities that come up. I had a feeling this shot wasn't going to be interesting, and it's not, but it could have been if there was something interesting happening in that scene. It's a nice minimal scene. This spot again, which you may recognise from my previous video, I thought I would stop here for a second and try and work it or see if anything interesting passed through. It doesn't really happen. This was the best one I got. Here in the distance I could see like some cops were arresting a guy, and this girl was doing a gesture on the corner, and I like this. I like the light and the shadow. It's very dark on the left hand side of the frame, and this girl's in the right hand corner, and it's quite a nice scene. I wish her hair maybe was a little bit better defined. There's another person behind her, and I do quite like the guy that's on the very right hand side who's framed within that sort of patch of light. I'm warming up to this photo more and more, It has a feeling and a sort of quality of the light to it that I'm enjoying. Now here I screwed up, because this woman in this tent was sitting in this beautiful light and she gestured to fix her hair, and if I'd been quick enough or smart enough, I would have framed her much more away from the right hand side and not cut her arm off with the side of the tent there, and I would not have had so much space on the left hand side of the frame, but I would still have included the guy picking up his kid. This was someone gesturing again, pointing. I've been looking for a lot of people pointing recently. The picture's far too busy, it's terrible, nothing's framed well, so it's a no. And speaking of people pointing, this person starts pointing as we're walking towards them there, and I get this, again, not framed well, or the pointing gesture should have been the focus, but it doesn't come out well. Now these two ladies, I could see the one of them doing this stretching with her hands behind her back, but this family was also walking along at the same time, so I didn't have the total freedom to move around and get to where I needed to be. But I did catch her as she was bringing her hands down, and I really was bummed that I wasn't able to get closer or just at a better angle. But this is okay, I don't mind it. It's a bit heavy on the right hand side. I was busy petting this dog who was wearing a white t-shirt while these guys were doing handstands beside us. So I did sort of try and photograph them, but I was busy petting a dog, so they don't come out too well. And also at this point of the day, I was pretty tired. The park was feeling a bit overwhelming. I think I was kind of done with it for the day. So I didn't get any great photos, I didn't think too hard about stuff, and yeah, I think I was ready to give up at this point. I was just, my legs were hurting too much, and I was done. For those of you with a keen eye, you may notice that I was shooting with a filter on the front of the camera today. It's the Moment Cinebloom filter. I've had this for a while, and it was delayed in shipping for a long time. And it came right about the time where we were getting a ton of snow and cold weather, and I was moving house, and shooting at night when this filter sort of comes into its own, it's just been a bad time for me going out to shoot at night. And I'm sure the Canadians that make this filter have got no sympathy for someone who doesn't want to go out at night in the cold and shoot. But I figured I would start trying to shoot it in the daytime and see what kind of a difference it made to the photos in the daytime, and see if it sort of made that harsh light look a bit more bloomy and get that sort of soft look that everybody looks for at night. So stand by for a video reviewing this filter. Might do a giveaway for it as well for anybody who is interested in this type of thing, especially if you're an X100V user and like to shoot at nighttime. This filter is pretty cool, so look out for that coming up in the next few weeks. But other than that, a relatively successful day of shooting. I was out for a very long time. I walked in total 11.6 or 0.7 miles on Saturday, and that's way more than normal. I was out for, most of the afternoon, a little bit of the morning as well, and I was really tired by the end of it. And even by the end of it, I wasn't putting in effort to find the photos. My legs were just sore. I was kind of cramping up a little bit. However, it was all made worth it by that through the fence, colourful fence photo with a guy doing this behind his head. That was that photo itself, I think, was worth it. It's probably going to go in the portfolio / in the shortlist for future book zine type stuff. And it was there right in front of me. I didn't even wait for it. It was just happening and I just went for it. And that makes it sound like I sort of know what I was doing or was just in the flow of things. I was not. I was extremely rusty. I did not feel like I was in sync with things at all. There was 4 of us out shooting, so that also made a difference. sometimes it's always nice to be out shooting with people and just socializing a bit, and then at other times we kind of trip over each other. And I don't know that happened too much today, but we were at least just noticed more, and then sometimes that makes me feel self-conscious when people have already seen us. But to be fair, if I hadn't been out shooting with other people, I probably wouldn't have walked over to Rhino, and I probably wouldn't have saw that photo at that particular time. So, you know, you'd take the good with the bad, I guess. I think that's all I've got to say for this one. So thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Drop me a comment down below, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.